Yes, welcome everyone. The Marijuana Times Show. I'm your host, Joe Clare. You find myself and many other great writers over at marijuanatimes.org. All the latest in your cannabis news and opinion for the industry, the community, and beyond. Go check out marijuanatimes.org. A lot of great stories, a lot of great writers, a lot of great things to check out, including these videos. You can go share them with your social media networks. Help us spread the truth about cannabis and share all the episodes of the Marijuana Times Show. Is November 20th, 2017. For this one, got a lot of stories coming up. We're going to talk about Jeff Sessions, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who seems to be wavering, if you will, when it comes to what he's going to do with cannabis, what he's capable of with cannabis, at least federally. He seems to be coming to grips a little bit with his lack of ability to do anything with it. Also, new report talks about how profitable marijuana companies would be if they were able to take care of the same deductions, the same federal deductions as other legal businesses and legal industries. Also, a couple was detained for a plant. They're detained for many hours by police for a plant that turned out not to be marijuana. We'll talk about all that coming up here on the Marijuana Times Show. But first, the show is brought to you by Natureside Cannabis. If you're looking for organic, all-natural pesticides, well, you need to check out Natureside. NaturesideCannabis.com. It's a line of all-natural pest products that were developed and proven by pest control professionals and cultivators to provide the confidence and security that professional cultivators and regulatory bodies demand. Places like California, Oregon, California, Washington, and beyond. There's regulations as far as what kind of pesticides you can use when you're a cultivator. Get a hold of NaturesideCannabis.com. They can help you through the process, and they have the products to do that as well. NaturesideCannabis.com, a proud sponsor of the Marijuana Times Show. Thank you to them, and go check them out. The first story, as I said, is from marijuanatimes.org. Jeff Sessions says that Obama-era marijuana policy will remain in effect. He said, quote, "Our policy is the same really fundamentally as the Holder-Lynch policy, which is that the federal law remains in effect and a state can legalize marijuana for its law enforcement purposes, but it still remains illegal with regard to federal purposes," according to Forbes. They reported Sessions as saying that, referring to previous attorney generals and their policy. Excuse me. You know that in the second term, in Obama's second term, there was a hands-off policy when it came to cannabis. That was legal, as long as they were following legal laws, and they couldn't prove that it was flowing out of state and all of that, and that things were clamped down. To make a long story short, in those states, that the federal law would, the federal Department of Justice would lay off. Also, the Rohrabacher Amendment has kept since 2014, has kept the Department of Justice from using funds to go after state legal medical marijuana patients and businesses. Check out that story over at marijuanatimes.org by Julia Granowitz. Again, I've only read that name. I've never heard it spoken, so I hope I'm not, Julia, I hope I'm not butchering your name. If I am, please let me know, or I will continue said butchering more than likely. Sessions, of course, is not a fan of marijuana. He's made that very clear. He doesn't think good people smoke marijuana. He doesn't think legalization is helpful. He's selling weed at every grocery store, which is not going to happen. But the point is, if Jeff Sessions was king, people wouldn't smoke marijuana. And if they did, they would go to jail for it. And the goal was never to get Jeff Sessions to get on board with legalization. That's never going to happen. If that's what you're waiting for, well, keep waiting. But what we want is to get Jeff Sessions to a point where he realizes there's nothing he can do, and to leave it alone. Leave the states to do what they're going to do. Jeff Sessions is not going to be Attorney General forever. However long he's there, he just leaves it alone. And then in the meantime, Congress can work on passing laws that will strip him of any power, namely legalizing marijuana and taking it off the schedule of controlled substances and legalizing it at a federal level. But anything that strips Jeff Sessions of power and the ability to come after marijuana is a good thing. Julia points out later in the piece that Sessions is using his influence with people like the governor of Maine and others to sway marijuana policy the way he wants it to go. But, he's very limited in what he can do. And hey, he may be gone tomorrow. You never know. He could be fired at any time, and nobody was surprised. Trump's gone after him on numerous occasions. He doesn't like the job he's doing, especially with the Hillary Clinton thing and collusion and all that. He's not happy with Jeff Sessions. So by the time this video is posted, he might already be fired. I don't know. He may be there in another 2 years, 3 years. Who knows? But the point is, for now, he seems to be recognizing the edge of his ability to do anything. He's come up against the barriers that prevent him from doing what he really wants to do, which is go after every legal state and wipe out the legal marijuana industry. And that's just not going to happen. This next story is from GlobeNewsWire.com. It's a report by the ArcView Group of Oakland, California. New report released today shows that licensed marijuana stores are as profitable as Starbucks stores if only they were taxed at the federal level like Starbucks, Apple, and other high-end specialty stores. Like Starbucks, Apple, and other high-end specialty stores. Cannabis dispensaries could average a 12% after-tax profit margin, which is in line with the top profit margin, especially retail stores like Starbucks enjoy. The findings are published by ArcView Market Research in a new report titled Cannabis Retail, the $23 billion Opportunity. Quote, this report shows that retail cannabis could be as big as the iPhone. It's clearer than ever that there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for those investors and operators who are willing to deal with the uncertainties and difficulties of current regulations, said ArcView CEO Troy Dayton. ArcView Market Research Editor-in-Chief Tom Adams said cannabis stores are unlike anything in the retail world has seen since big box stores wiped out much of the specialty store business in the 1990s, and because of federal prohibition, publicly traded retail companies are just going to have to stand aside while entrepreneurs pursue this unique retail opportunity. As you know, as I said earlier, a lot of the deductions that regular businesses can get at the federal level with their federal taxes, or on their federal taxes, or from, rather, their federal taxes, those opportunities are not available to marijuana businesses because, as they said, marijuana is illegal on a federal level. If it wasn't, well, there's no reason that marijuana can't be as successful as an industry as anything else. You have a customer base of 25 to 30 million people, which is what a lot of investments put as just regular marijuana smokers. That doesn't count the ancillary, well, not ancillary smokers, but people who don't smoke very often, people who just have it for parties or whatever, or doing on social occasions. They don't buy it all the time, maybe once every few months for whatever reason. Maybe they just had surgery and they use it for a couple months and then they stop. We're talking tens of millions of people. You have that kind of customer base, you can have a massive industry. Very few industries in this country, legal industries, boast a market above 30 million adults. Very few come to mind. I mean, maybe like the fast food industry as a whole, that's more than 30 million people. The retail industry as a whole, that's more than 30 million. But most industries don't rise to that level and have that kind of, stretch. Like Hulu doesn't even have 30 million subscribers. But, and then the sky's the limit, as they say. There could be more users in the future as people get over the things they were told, so that that market can expand. Then the market becomes worldwide as other companies jump on board, or other countries rather, legalize and get other businesses in the industry as well. Who knows? What are we talking? We're hundreds of millions of people. It's a massive, massive industry, and much of it already exists. The customer base exists at the very least, and that's really, that's where you need to start. If you have the customer base, well, you can get the rest. This last story is from usnews.com. It's an AP story. It's a funny premise, but it's not a funny situation. A couple is filing a lawsuit after they were detained after their hibiscus plant was mistaken for pot. Couples stayed with their handcuffed for hours in a police patrol car after their hibiscus plants were confiscated, or confused for marijuana rather, are suing the police and an insurance company. Edward and Audrey Kramer say in a lawsuit filed Tuesday that a nationwide insurance company agent investigating a fallen tree at their Buffalo Township home, he sent photos of their flowering plant to the police. The lawsuit alleged that Buffalo Township officers with assault rifles went to their home on October 7th to investigate. Assault rifles, meaning long guns. Audrey Kramer, 66, says she was partially dressed when she went to the door and police would not let her put on pants before she was handcuffed. I was not treated as though I was a human being, she said. I was just something they were going to push aside. Her husband, Edward, who's 69, said he returned home after a half hour later, to find his wife in the back of a police cruiser and officers pointing guns at him. He also was placed in the cruiser despite trying to convince the officers the plants were hibiscus, not marijuana. They actually ignored me, he said. They wouldn't even listen. I said, I can show you pictures on the internet. They were eventually released without charges. They're seeking monetary compensatory damages and court costs from the police department and Nationwide Insurance. Just a ridiculous situation. Hopefully they get paid. Because of stories like this, and people like the police department and Nationwide have to pay out money that causes others to maybe think twice. Maybe if I see a plant and I kind of think it's marijuana, I'm a Nationwide agent, maybe just mind my own business. Just move on. Or I can see a hibiscus plant and think it's weed and call the cops and send them pictures and say, go bust these people. What if one of them got shot? What if both of them would have been shot? What then? I'm sure this Nationwide agent feels bad, but he should feel bad. Mind your own business. Even if it was marijuana, so what? You're there about a fallen tree. You're not there paying out a claim on weed plants. About a fallen tree. What if it was a marijuana plant? So what? Get over it. Mind your business. Go do your job. Your job is not send pictures of your customers to the police because they might have a marijuana plant. It's not like you saw them assaulting someone or abusing their child. You saw a plant and sent the pictures to the police. They said two of these people could have got shot. Maybe Edward is at home and he's got a gun. And maybe when they bust through his door, he's like, no, hey, who's this? You know, what's going on? Maybe I'm old, I'm senile, I'll start shooting. What happens then? So hopefully, hope they get a lot of money. Good. Nationwide has to pay a ton. They should be in their employee handbook. You see some weed plants when you're out, doing a claim or whatever, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's not hurting anybody. If you see the weed plant get up out of its roots and assault someone or rob a bank or something, then you can call the police. But if the marijuana plant's just sitting there minding its own business, well, maybe you should leave it alone. I don't know. It's dumb. Thanks, everybody. This has been the Marijuana Time Show. Go share and like these videos. If you want to sponsor the Marijuana Time Show, as our awesome sponsor, NatureSideCannabis.com, organic and all-natural pesticides, does. Email us info@marijuanatimes.org and let us know you want to be a sponsor of the show. This has been the Marijuana Time Show. Until next time, thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.